Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the show. I am Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network, and tonight we have a good one here. It is the Monster Mile with the late model stocks here tonight. So this is race number 5 of the Postma Flooring Late Model Stock Tour here at the mile. First time ever, these cars have seen a mile-long racetrack, and it's coming at one of the very big bad ones, the Monster Mile here, Dover, getting ready to rock and roll. Practices wraps on up here. It looks like Justin Brooks leads the way here in practice. Pete Dillon second, then Tanner Tallarico rounding out the top 3 in practice, as we'll head on over here to qualifying. Of course, just like always, qualifying the same. Each driver gets a chance to have 2 time laps, and then the time lapse will determine the starting order here tonight, because at least with the race session, it's not the same that we've been used to, and that is because we have dual features here tonight at Dover. That means here we will have one 40-lap feature, then a little quick intermission chat with that winner, then these drivers strap back into their cars with that 12-car invert, and then do another 40-lap feature here tonight. So double the races, double the points at a very interesting car track combo. It's going to keep these drivers on their toes as we take a look here at the 88. This is Chuck Darling. Darling through 1 and 2 first time lap here at Dover. Darling actually last Wednesday picked up his first ASRC Street Stock Series win of the season. So Darling, the most recent winner here in ASRC. We'll see where he can start here so far. Hummel with the quick time of times coming on in. Now Chuck Darling goes to the top of the 25.77. A very good, nice, and tidy lap for the 88. Lap number 1. We'll see if he can pick up any more time here on lap number 2. The 88 of Darling off turn number 4 for the final time. Looks like Ron Hart will go quick time. What will Darling respond with? He will go at 25.78. So will not improve right now. Ron Hart with the quick time so far. Of drivers that are starting to take their laps here. It looks like Tallarico will now jump into P number 3, 25.74. So probably not the exact lap he wanted, as now JJ McRae slots into P number 3. Payne lap number 1, 26.81. We are looking at him here in the 38 Pinkerton machine. Payne gonna try and get some more speed here on lap number 2. It does seem like if you take your time on lap number 1, get that big run for lap number 2, you can pick up some speed, as we saw Ron Hart go from the bottom of the tower to the top. As Payton across the stripe, the 38 will go to P number 3, paying a 25.72, so a great lap by the 38 machine there. Another driver here starting his final lap. That is the 21 machine. This is Greggy Long. Long right now sits at the bottom of the pylon, going to try and get to the top, that we've seen quite a few other drivers do. But he's going to run out of time. It's going to be very close. And yeah, Long will not make it to the stripe. So walking away with the quick time here tonight is the 51 machine of Ron Hart. The Hitman back up on the pole. And Ron Hart will lead the field to the green flag here tonight. At least in race number 1, because like I mentioned before, folks, this is just feature number 1 of 2. We didn't have already enough good racing action. We got double of it here tonight. So let's head on down trackside and go through tonight's starting lineup for feature number 1. Feature number 1 will look like the following. Ron the Hitman Hart in the 51 machine, walking away with the quick time here, will lead the field to the green flag. To his outside, the 48 machine of Tim Rogers has had pretty good success qualifying the last couple weeks. Tonight, we'll use that advantage here. We'll start on the outside of the front row. Rolling off P number 3, that is going to the 38 machine of Dave Payton. Then in P number 4 sits the 78 car, JJ McRae, Right now, McRae leading the overall points of the short track series in both the late model stocks and the street stocks. So McRae has a very good starting spot here tonight. Then to round out the top 5 will be the 1 car. That is Tanner Tallarico. Rolling off 6th is Scott Negus in the 55 machine. Starting in 7th is the 07. That is Pete Dillon. Stephen Hoffman in the 86 will roll off 8th. 9th going to Chuck Darling, last Wednesday's winner in the Street Stock Series. He will roll off 9th. Rounding out the top 10 will be the 35 machine. That is Hayden Swank. 11th is the 31 machine of Zach Hummel. And then Ace Hart will roll off 12th in the 145 here. Then behind them, the rest of the field will look like the following. Mark Welch in the 24 machine will roll off 13th. 14th going to the 41 car of TJ Hansen. Starting at 15th is JT Batson in the 906. Jamie Prevost in the 73 will roll off 16th. 17th going to Greggy Long in the 21. 18th is Justin Brooks, who is last week's winner. So Brooks will start shotgun on the field here tonight, just in feature number 1, but will have to drop to the tail, try and make his way at least into the top 12 to get in the invert for feature number 2. Start 19th is Nathan Coaster in the 053. Stephen Rochford in the 66 will roll off 20th. 21st is Ty Delphia in the 013, and then it is Scott Rochford starting shotgun on the field, at least in the starting order, but of course won't be the very last driver to go. So that will do it here for the starting lineup for race number 5 of the Postma Flooring late model stocks. I believe this time by should get the 1 to go, and check this out, folks. A lot of late model stocks here tonight at the Bristol. I'm a few weeks behind, I guess, folks, at the Dover Raceway here as we take a look at this field. 20 cars taking the grid, 22 cars here, at least in the server, but it looks like 2 cars not making the grid so far. Justin Brooks and Nathan Coaster have yet to make the call or head to their cars, so that is something we're going to have to keep an eye on. But yeah, at least right now, folks, 20 cars getting ready to do battle for 2 short features, 40 laps the distance of both of them. Both of them, though, paying full points, so a lot for these guys to race for here tonight. And here we go. Lights are out on the iRacing pace car. We are going green this time by, and get ready to turn him loose for 40 laps. Ron Hart, Tim Rogers on the front row. Hart in the 51 machine in control of the restart, can fire off whenever he desires. And then it's going to be a game of saving that car as Ron Hart fires off with a great jump. We go green flag racing here at Dover. Hart away by himself. Rogers and Payne side by side into turn number 1 here. Looks like they will stay that way here. Inside lane's definitely going to be dominant on these restarts, at least with cars just not up to speed fully yet. But once they start getting some speed on them, we can see the outside start to come on in, because these cars tend to get a little bit loose, especially at these speeds. So if you got some extra wheel in that car can snap around here in a hurry, as now Rogers lost the place to Payne, to Tallarico, and now maybe even to McRae. Further on back, though, single file throughout the field here. Drivers trying to get things rocking and rolling. 1 car in the wall, that's Ty Delphia in the 13 VT machine. Looks like a little bit of right front damage to the 13, that wheel hanging on out of the fender, but luckily for Ty, he's gonna have another car for feature number 2. So even if you have a bad feature number 1, there's still a chance to make it on up by the time we get to feature number 2. As we take a look here towards the front here, it is Ron Hart leading over Dave Payton, Tanner Tallarico, Tim Rogers, and JJ McRae rounding out the top 5 here. Right behind them, Stephen Hoffman here taking the move on Scott Negus. This is the battle for the 6th spot here, right outside of our top 5, as Hoffman will duck to the inside of the 55. We'll have the position now through 3 and 4. These guys all about momentum How much do they want to burn off their stuff? How much do they want to save? And right now, Hoffman, a man on a mission. He should be able to clear the 55 machine off turn number 2, and that he'll do. Now Negus has the advantage over Hayden Swank, able to keep the spot, so Swank will fall in line behind the 55, and still a lot of fast race cars here out on the racetrack. And of course, so far, all clean and green for the first 6 laps. There's one car in the wall. That's a 21 machine of Greggy Long. And then I think JT Batson also got a piece of the wall there off turn number 4. And that is definitely something these drivers are going to have to keep in mind here. Dover, a very fast track, and you got to really think ahead, especially when you come to Dover. You're in the corner for so long that you pretty much need a big arc on entry and almost hit the apex kind of 3/4 of the way throughout the corner. That way you're angled right for the exit, because these walls are so close at it. If you try and crank a ton of wheel in it, you're bound to pretty much get sideways as well. As here we go, Tanner Tallarico on the move on Dave Payton. Payton up into lane number 2. Same with McRae, as here comes Stephen Hoffman now as well. Tim Rogers now to the inside of Payton, and right behind him, like I said, Hoffman and McRae go door number to door number here into turn number 1. So far here tonight, Ron Hart has led every lap so far here, but now he has some big time hitters once again to his back bumper, and he's had it all night long. I think we'll see people start to turn it up about halfway through the race or so. You know, right now everyone's trying to see what kind of track position they can run with the pace they think they need to have, but it's going to start to turn on up here with about 20 to go, and all it takes, especially with this car track combo, these cars just are carrying so much corner speed that if you are hauling the mail for about 5 laps or so, you can really burn off a right rear tire, get it extremely hot, and then here at a concrete track, it takes about another 5 laps just to cool it on off. So these drivers want to wait to make that tire heating window as late as possible to turn up that wick to 100%. So 10 laps completed here at the stripe. Every lap has been led by Ron Hart. So let's ride on board with Hart, looking back at the field behind him. Let's ride on board with our race leader here, and let's take a peek here and listen to that throttle input here, and you can see tire fall offs, not too much, or maybe it's time some drivers turning up the wick already just a little bit. You can see Tallarico right on the back bumper. Here comes Tanner Tallarico to the lead. Tallarico will make a look to the inside of Hart, will not be able to make it stick there, entering that low on the track, so it will single file back out, but Hart knows these guys behind him now definitely pushing more than they were just a little bit ago. Another driver here making some big moves here in feature number 1. That is the 35 machine of Hayden Swank. Swank, biggest mover, I should say second biggest mover of the race so far here tonight. He is up 5 spots from where he qualified, currently in the 5th position. The only car that has passed more cars is this 21 machine of Greggy Long. Of course, we saw Long start 17th, did not get his second more important qualifying lap in the books here, so had to start deep, but has been able to pass the most amount of cars here so far here tonight. He has passed 9 cars in these first 14 laps. The question is, will he have enough time and enough car to have something at the end? Heading up towards the front though, Hart still leading the way. Stephen Hoffman has just gotten around Tanner Tallarico for second, so Hoffman gonna put the pressure on Ron Hart. That puts Tallarico to 3rd. Tim Rogers still into 4th, and like we were talking about before, Hayden Swank, a man on a mission. He is up into P number 5. Let's ride on board Swank, see what he's doing to set up these passes here tonight at Dover. car down on pit road. I think that was JT Batson in the 906. And you can see these cars, how out of shape, how swirly, and kind of on the edge these cars are. As right in front of here, we are seeing battle for the race lead here. Ron Hart has led every lap, but here comes Stephen Hoffman. Leaders almost lean on each other there on the exit of 4. Man, oh man, some great racing up front. We'll go to the battle to that race lead. Stephen Hoffman has the advantage by half a car length now. Right behind them, Swank once again ducks out of line. Does not get the run he needed down the backstretch though. Hart and Hoffman, it's the battle of the H's up in front here, and they are putting on a show. Still, Ron Hart leads at the stripe. These guys are sawing on the wheels side by side at over 130 miles an hour, even in the corners. And with these guys side by side, it's slowing up the pace of the pack just that little bit, as now we see Hayden Swank working over Tim Rogers. Rogers way up in that almost like 4th groove there, so that's not where you want to be, especially with the marbles starting to build up at Dover. You can start to see some black sprinkles up in that 2nd lane here, but here we go. Stephen Hoffman got the lead. Here comes Ron Hart with the crossover down the backstretch. Hart's not going to give up that lead easy. Now Hart down low, Hoffman up top. How will this work on out? They almost lean on each other once again, but that time by at the stripe. It is cross flags for feature number 1. Halfway down, halfway home in race number 1, and it is a barn burner for the race lead up in front. Like I was saying before, folks, with these cars side by side, it's slowing up the pace of this pack just that little bit, and now it's allowing all the way to about 12th position Zach Hummel to join into this lead pack here tonight. So we all have 12 cars in this one pack here, and that is the 12 cars for the invert. So these guys know they're kind of racing 2 things: the best finish here, but they also want that track position for race number 2, and to do that you got to finish in the top 12. As Ron Hart back out to the point, he will clear Stephen Hoffman. Here comes Tanner Tallarico though, trying to get back P number 2. Tallarico has to be careful here because he has the 2 biggest movers now right behind him. Hayden Swank up into 4th, Greggy Long into P number 5 here tonight. Off of turn number 4, Tallarico doesn't get a good run there, doesn't get a good exit, so Hoffman able to once again draw even with the number 1 machine. And you got to wonder, how patient is Hayden Swank behind? He knows these cars are battling. They'll eventually get clear, but as the laps continue to click on down, how long can you sit? Because when you're sitting, you can be vulnerable. And there it is, Greggy Long to the inside of Hayden Swank for P number 4. So if Ron Hart wants to see anything in his mirror, it's exactly this. 2x2 for the 2 rows behind him, as he tries to just see that white flag as soon as possible. And look at this, Stephen Hoffman starting to pull in front of the 1 car of Tallarico in lane number 2. You gotta wonder, is this 2nd lane starting to come in just a little bit here with 15 to go? Because I thought Tallarico was able to get around Hoffman pretty easy, but Stephen Hoffman doing a whale of a job up in that 2nd lane and making it work here. There'll be 14 to go at the stripe. Further on back, Scott Negus trying to work over the 7 of Pete Dillon. That is further on in this pack, but they still continue to be side by side for 2nd. Long clear for 4th. As it looks like Pete Dillon will drive it in there deep, be able to get clear of the 55. But yeah, still this great battle for P number 2. As the question is now, how long is Greggy Long patient behind these 2 cars? As, oh, Tallarico, a great exit there Tallarico almost gets clear of Hoffman. If Tallarico can just nail 3 and 4 here, he should be able to do just that. Oh, Hoffman got big time loose right at the apex. That'll open up the door for the 21 machine to get on by. As here comes Tallarico, he'll look to the outside of Ron Hart. We haven't seen anyone really set up and then complete a pass from lane number 2. Tallarico gonna try and do just that. Tallarico up on the high side. Ron Hart, our race leader, down low. Ron Hart will get loose sideways. JJ McCray into the wall off turn number 4. Looks like everyone will miss the slowing 78. I think McCray should be able to still finish. If he can hang on to that race car, we'll start towards the front in feature number 2. But here we go, Hart, Tallarico. Oh man, Greggy Long's gonna force the issue. 3 wide for the race lead. How will this work on out? Corner exit is very tight. They will bang doors and see 10 to go. Still 3 wide for the race lead. Tallarico gets shuffled way up into the marbles there. Won't be able to carry too much speed. Tallarico will go for the crossover. We'll get right to the back bumper of Long here. Greggy Long from 17th to now the race lead. The 21 machine will lead with 9 laps to go. Ron Hart won't make this easy. We saw him successfully do a crossover there on Stephen Hoffman earlier in this race. Can he do that again? It's going to be very tough to do because now Tanner Tallarico once again to the inside of Ron Hart. This is now a battle for second, so these guys have to be smart with it. Can't let Greggy Long get too far out in front of them. As with 8 laps to go here, Tallarico not quite clear of the 51 machine. They will continue to be side by side as, oh, Hoffman made contact. Hart will go on around, Swank around as well, and same with Stephen Hoffman, as I think with them all wrecking on the apron, we didn't get a caution flag there. Wow, so it looks like Hoffman and Swank will roll down pit road. That is a heartbreak for all those guys involved. But yeah, since it was off the racing surface, iRacing does not throw the caution. So with that, that'll put a big shake up because that took 3 out of the top 5 out of here. So now it puts Pete Dillon to P number 3, Dave Payne to 4th, and then Scott Negus back into the top 5 here tonight in the 55. Man, oh man, that definitely puts a shake up in things, but the race for the win definitely still on 100%. Tanner Tallarico within 2/10 of our race leader. Here last time by, it was 5 laps to go. This time by, make it 4 laps to go, and Tallarico's right there within striking distance of the 21 machine. So it looks like here tonight, the retirements so far here, Ron Hart, Mark Welch, JT Batson, of course, they get new cars for race number 2, so they will still have a chance in feature number 2. Definitely not how they wanted to start the race, but here we go. 3 laps to go. Tallarico now within 1 car length of Greggy Long. He has to set him up and pretty much gets 1 shot at it here with 3 laps to go. So has to time the perfect run combined with the perfect move to make something happen here. Tallarico will go a little bit wider here, try and carry just a little bit more speed at the apex, get that run, but here we go. That time by, popsicle sticks up in the air. Last time we were at a track similar to this, it was Bristol Motor Speedway, and it was these guys 1-2 nose to tail for the final couple restarts, and they finished 1-2. Last time it was Tallarico getting the advantage of Long. Here tonight it might be role reversal as Tallarico big time loose through 3 and 4. The white flag is out. One more lap to go for feature number 1. Tallarico's going to have one chance here. He needs to get the best run ever off of turn number 2. Gets a little bit high. Probably not is what it's going to be here as Long through 3 and 4. And here we go. Greggy Long off turn number 4. He will pick up the win for feature number 1. Further on back here, Pete Dillon in 3rd. Dave Payton will just hold off Scott Negus in a photo finish for 4th. Now put Scott Negus into 5th. Chuck Darling 6th. Zach Hummel 7th. Tim Rogers 8th. JJ McCray 9th. And Stephen Roachford rounding out the top 10. And don't forget, guys, the full order from the results will be the top 12 inverted and then everyone else from where they finished here in the race. But awesome job here by Greggy Long here picking up the win. And we will chat with him right now once we get a word with the driver of the 21 machine. Greggy, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yes, sir. What's up, Brett?
Oh, man, how are we doing here tonight? 40 laps. Definitely not the longest lap count ever, but it seemed like it was a handful, and you were working that wheel here tonight, especially through that traffic.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, qualifying got cut short. Missed a little bit of the timing and missed my second lap, so we had to start deep in the field there. So I was trying to manage my tires as well as work the wheel, these cars are really loose here, but yeah, it ran pretty good. I mean, from 17th to 1st, I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely a very, very impressive run, and probably some really good practice because now with the invert, you're start 12, so don't even have to start as deep this time, and you already know the blueprint of how to get things done here for race number 2.
Yeah, honestly, sounds crazy, but I just bought this track before the race started, so those were my first laps on this track with other cars and racing, and I felt really good. I was able to make some passes there. I know I shoved it 3 wide, Tanner and Ron, and we ran 3 wide for almost a half a lap. That was some fun racing there.
Yeah, that it was. It was incredible to watch, Greggy. And one other thing I wanted to mention, last time we were at a similar track, it was Bristol, a lot smaller, but by the end of the race, it was you and Tallarico, this time the inverse. I mean, what's clicking at these big tracks and these late model stocks for you? Because once again, you two right in front battling for a win.
Honestly, I've gotten pretty good at the car control, and that's what you need here. Because if you get the car a little too loose, your lap's gone. So just being consistent, and yeah, I love beating Tanner there. He races me clean, I race him clean, and it was kind of like a roles reverse sweep moment from Bristol. Hopefully, we can get it done here in the second feature.
Yeah, and I was going to say, what's the game plan for the second feature? It's got to be similar to this first one, right? Like we said before, not starting as deep. You already know the blueprints, right?
Yeah, it's just going to be keeping the car in one piece. I know a lot of people are going to race this a lot harder than they did the other one. Everybody's trying to win this second feature. Not everybody gets to race 2 features every night, and I mean, everybody wants to win because it's full points. So we're going to keep the car in one piece, and I can save a little more tire. I could say that.
Yep, I bet, with only starting in 12th and hopefully some good gaps form as everyone tries to race their way through. And yeah, Greggy, to go along with the season, heartbreak to kick it off and then, slowly getting better and now down in victory lane here once again. That has to feel pretty good. And still before the halfway in the season, so anything can happen, especially with the double point nights.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I had a good run last week going and at Myrtle Beach, and we had a problem. We got into the second place car, which was Ron, and he was having some wheel problems. So that put us to the rear, and then me and Ron tangled up again, and I was a lap down and drove back to fifth. So I knew the momentum was swinging in my way. I just had to get a clean race and put the beginnings of the race with the end of the race together, and that's what we did here tonight.
Yeah, that you did for race number 1. and it sounds like you're planning to do the exact same here for race number 2. So, Greggy,
Oh,
before
something
we
else I
let you
forgot to
go
mention super
and
quickly.
celebrate this
I don't know.
feature number 1 win
Okay.
here, I'm going to go
Okay.
hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors on the car, some of those all-important teammates, or maybe some people tuning into the broadcast here.
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for popping in. Come here every Tuesday and Wednesday, and we're gonna put on some good racing for you. I can promise you that. I'd like to thank Justin Brooks Designs for the sick paint scheme. I'm sure it looked good through the stream, and um, yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for running me clean. We will see what we got here in the second feature. Hopefully, we can get around Tanner as easy as we did last time. I know Tanner, if he would have got a clean track, it would have been the roles reversed again. So I had to shove it 3 wide inside Ron when he pushed up and take the opportunity when I could take it.
Oh yeah, especially here at Bristol or Dover, it is all about momentum. So Greggy, good luck here in feature number 2. Still another 40 laps to do some battling with.
Hey, thank you. I wish I could have got the Daytona sweep. I missed on qualifying, started in the back. It would have been nice to win the qualifying, win the first feature and the second. So we'll see how the next feature goes.
Oh, for sure. But to sweep both features would be a big accomplishment of itself. And Greggy, you're sitting in a good spot to do that.
Yep. Well, you guys have fun watching this next race. We're about to grid up. Let's have some fun here.
All right, that we will. Greggy, good luck to you, and go have some fun.
Yep. Thank you, Brett. Thank you for streaming.
Alrighty, folks, that was our winner of feature number 1, the 21 machine of Greggy Long. Here in feature number 2, Long will start in 12th position. So speaking about starting positions, let's head down trackside and go through tonight's starting order for race number 2. Starting on the pole will be the 73 machine. That is Jamie Prevost to his outside. The man that always ends up in the top 10 by the end of it. The 77 of Scott Roachford. He will start outside of the front row. Rolling off P number 3 will be the 66 Scott's kid. It is Stephen Roachford in the 66 rolling off third. Rolling off P number 4 will be JJ McCrae in the 78. Fifth going to the 48 of Tim Rogers. Zach Homo in the 31 will roll off 6th. 7th going to Chuck Darling in the 88. Rolling off, and P number 8 will be the 55. That is Scott Negus. 9th going to the 38 machine of Dave Payton. Rounding out the top 10 will be the 07. That is Pete Dillon. 11th going to the 1 car of Tanner Tallarico. Then rounding out the top 12 will be feature number 1 winner. That is Greggy Long. Then picking up from there, JT Hansen in the 41 machine will roll off 13th. 14th going to Ty Delphia in the 013. 15th is the 145. That is Ace Hart. Hayden Swank in the 35 machine will start 16th. 17th going to Stephen Hoffman. 18th is Ron Hart. 19th Mark Welch. 20th JT Batson. And it looks like Justin Brooks, Nathan Coaster not making the grid for feature number 2. And it looks like neither will Mark Welch. So that will do it for the starting lineup for feature number 2. It looks like now 19 cars taking the green flag for feature number 2 here. Once again, some big time storylines to go into feature number 2. Top 12 cars are inverted. Jamie Prevost, Scott Roachford on the front row. Some guys starting in deep in the field involved in that incident. Stephen Hoffman, Hayden Swank, Ron Hart. And with Ron Hart's issue, and of course that incident, his kid Ace Hart actually beat him. So I at least have to mention that over the air, that the old kid beat the old man in race number 2 of his career. First ever late model stock start for Ace Hart as well. So that is pretty cool. But here we go, folks. Lights are out around the Dover Motor Speedway. We get ready to turn them loose for another 40-lap barn burner. Last time we saw some great racing, battle pretty much the whole race for the race lead, even 3 wide action. This is going to be even crazier here, as here we go. Jamie Prevost in the 73 machine leads the field to the green flag, and that is an awesome sight to see Jamie on the loud pedal. And we go green flag racing for feature number 2 of the night. The 73 machine of Prevo will lead down into turn number 1, will lead the field, have the track all by himself. Then it's a Roachford show for lane number 2. Now Steven able to get by. Here comes Tim Rogers as well. Scott Roachford will get down to the bottom here in lane number 2. And oh man, heads up here, 3 wide. And they will somehow make it work. Oh man, Steven Roachford into the walls. Same with the 73 machine of Jamie Prevo. Everyone able to get by. Maybe not. Jamie Prevo goes around in the 73 machine. Alrighty, so no cautions in feature number 1. This one, caution on lap number 2. And that started way back, even before where we pick up the replay here, because the 73 and the 66 get into the wall. Then going into turn number 3, oh, Zach Hummel maybe gets shot up from the door of Greggy Long, or not sure what happened there, but then all sorts of calamity as Scott Negus gets sideways. Like we saw Jamie Prevo into the wall. A hard hit for TJ Hansen there in the 41 machine, as quite a bit of damage for some cars. Man, Ace Hart in that 145 machine, keeping that car glued to the bottom, able to hang on to it. And how about hanging on to it? Scott Negus, he had a big time save here. Let's see what happened to the 55 machine. Yeah, here's the 4 wide going into turn number 1. And yeah, 4 wide, some door banging there. And that's what sent the 31 machine on up. And then Scott Negus able to keep the throttle down in the 55, not spin that car out. Wow, that could have been a lot worse, but I think only really 3 cars with heavy damage after that. So to kick off a quick yellow here tonight, the running order now shakes down up quite a bit. Tim Rogers in the 48 machine with the old Plaza sponsorship. Always a sweet looking car here. He will be out in the lead. Scott Roachford now reclaimed second. JJ McCrae third. Chuck Darling up to 4th. Dave Payton up into 5th here. So yeah, the one bummer here with Dover, as I'm sure the drivers are feeling, and even the spectators, pace speed definitely a little slow for a mile track. I think pace speed is about 45 miles an hour. It's I think we can ramp that up just a little bit here, but hey, I don't make the rules nor the coding here, but at least caution about to come to an end here, this time by the 48 machine of Tim Rogers. Will have the lane choice. He can choose high or low here. It's going to be a no-brainer here, folks. It's going to be an inside lane choice, just because shortest distance around the racetrack before you get up to speed, inside lane is where you want to be here. So Rogers will do that. That'll put Scott Roachford up to the outside once again. Everyone else will re-rack, restack, double file on up for our first Boardwalk Subs caution of the evening here to kick off feature number 2. Luckily, I think only about 3 cars involved in that one, so it could have been a lot worse. As here we go. It looks like Steven Roachford able to get back to the back of the field. Jamie Prevo. So all 19 cars that took the green flag still out on the racetrack. And here we go up front. And I tell you what, if we make it through turns 1 and 2, I say we do a little turn 3, turn it up, let the cars do the talking, especially with the sweet sounds of Dover Motor Speedway here. Tim Rogers in the 48 in control. Scott Roachford in the 77 outside of row number 2. Rogers will wait quite a bit to get onto the throttle here. We'll wait all the way to the green flag, and here we go. Back to green flag racing here at Dover. Tim Rogers able to get away with a great start. JJ McCrae should be able to get second away from Scott Roachford. That he will. So 77 going to bleed a few spots here through turns 1 and 2. Oh, down the back. Greggy Long, Chuck Darling involved there. Feature number 1 winner, Greggy Long, involved here in the 21 Same with the 88 machine of Chuck Darling, the two most recent guys that have picked up a checkered flag here in ASRC involved in the second caution of the night. Let's take a look here, see what happened going down the backstretch here. Not really a common place where we see some issues because these cars definitely have a lot of downward force. Oh, and I think it's Chuck Darling trying to square up Steven Roachford, trying to get the run, and Greggy Long down there with the position, has the car length, and yeah, pretty big contact to the inside wall, at least to the 88. I think Greggy Long in the 21 should be halfway decent. Seems like he didn't hit the wall too hard, but we'll try and take a look here one more time, see what happened is. Yeah, you see Darling get sideways, come down the track just a little bit, and then, yeah, there's the inside wall hit. I mean, Long will definitely have some front end damage. That left front took a pretty big hit from the 88, but I think Darling definitely has the more damage out of the two race cars. So under our second kind of consecutive caution for feature number 2, these guys don't quite want to get racing here, so should definitely make it interesting. Because I think it'll probably clean off about the first 10 laps of the race. We'll be done under caution, so should make things really interesting. Like I said, drivers have one set of tires over the wall if they want to use it, but now that it's only a 30-lap race, it's going to be very tough to justify a call late in this one. So with us slowed for the second time here tonight, we'll take a quick commercial break with our partners over at Premier Setup Shops. Just a quick 30-second break. We'll be right back after that break. So here we go, coming back to Dover, right at the choosing time, and it looks like Tim Rogers in the 48 machine will elect the inside lane here. Once again, going to be a no-brainer with that call. And that puts the 78 JJ McCray up into P number 2, our overall short track points leader. We'll start on the front row here. And especially to be leading that staff, folks, comes down to consistency in both these late model stocks as well as on Wednesday night the street stocks, getting those definitely top 10 finishes every single race, as well as consistently within the top 5 if you can, and that's exactly what McCray is doing. And actually the front row here is our top 2 in the overall short track standings points. It goes McCray in first, then Tim Rogers in second. So these guys very good at what they do, and they're on the front row here. Of course, Rogers once again in control of restart number 2. As Rogers last time waited very deep, that time going a lot earlier here, and we'll go back to green flag race, and we'll see if we can let him loose for a couple laps here, as McCray will stay right to the back bumper of Rogers, able to slot in front of Dave Payton. So McCray will hang on to second, Payton third. Talarico is up to P number 4, and Scott Negus in 5th. Further on back, Ron Hart trying to charge through the field as quickly as possible. He is up to now P number 7, as battle for a race lead not lasting long, as JJ McCray and the 78 machine out in front. McCray will lead the field over Rogers and Tanner Talarico already up into P number 2. Let's do a little turn 3, turn it up, and let the cars do the talking here tonight. Single file throughout most of the field at the moment. McRae still leads over Tim Rogers, Tallarico in third. Stephen Hoffman, him and Ron Hart got together in feature number one. They both sit fifth and sixth, so they are trying to bounce back from a tough race number one. They are right there within striking distance. Scott Negus right there as well. Top seven all in pack number one. Then pack number two, Scott Roachford, Ty Delphia, Pete Dillon, Hayden Swanko side by side. And then right behind them, we see Greggy Long involved in that second incident. He is already back up into 12th here, and he's trying to get that double checkered flag here tonight. Out in front, battle for the race lead. Tim Rogers trying to take the lead back from JJ McRae. Those two will dive down into turn number one here side by side. Rogers should have the advantage with the shorter distance, but McRae not making it an easy, quick pass here as he will still continue to hang on to that right rear quarter panel. McRae a little loose there at the apex, has to hang on to that race car. Rogers should be able to get clear. Oh, he did. He could have shut the door, but elects not to. McRae will still have a bit of momentum. Now Tallarico has to get right onto that back bumper of the 48, not allow the 78 to shoot on down for the crossover on the 48, nor to get in front of the one. And that's exactly what happens there. Tallarico to the inside as we get a caution flag once again. Feature number one winner, Greggy Long, stopped on the backstretch, and he will head to pit road. Let's take a look here, see what happened to Greggy Long here off of turn number two. And that has been a tough corner for our first race winner here tonight in race number two. Oh man, it looks like Long and Scott Roachford get together there. That didn't really put a clean picture. Couldn't quite get a good view of it as there's Long making the move to the inside of the 77. I thought Long thought the 77 was going to be more up the racetrack. He was kind of down further, and once again, big time hits for both of those race cars. So just like the second caution, two cars getting together off of turn number two, and that will bring us under the caution flag for the third time here tonight. And it looks like race number one winner, Greggy Long, gonna call it a night after that one. A tough break with a great start of the race. Just before halfway here, we got some strategy calls out here on the racetrack. About half of the field down on pit road being led by Scott Negus. Looks like Stephen Roachford down, Hayden Swink. So these guys that were about, 10th on back, gonna try some strategy here, slap some new tires on their race cars and see if that can get their advantage to pick up a checkered flag here in feature number two. Drivers that stayed on out, Tim Rogers, Tanner Tallarico, McRae, Payton, Hoffman, Hart, Delphia, Batson, and then Scott Roachford. So the top nine staying on out as everyone else dove on down to at least get some new virtual race car tires on their race car here tonight. And that worked out perfectly, at least for them. It splits the race just in half. I know the first half definitely didn't have a lot of green flag laps, so it should be really, really interesting to keep an eye on the pace of those drivers and see what they have here. Oh, look at this. Tim Rogers working with his teammates here. Gonna elect the high side on the restart. So that'll put Tallarico inside of row number one. But it is Tim Rogers in control of the restart here for our third restart of the night. So kind of a flip race from race number one. Race number one, all green flag. We did have an incident, but it happened off the racetrack. Here's tonight. First half of the race already sees 3 caution flags here. As on the front row, it's going to be Rogers, Tallarico leading the field to the green flag. Then further on back, McRae in third, Payton in fourth, and then Stephen Hoffman fifth, Ron Hart sixth. Those two guys start deep in the field here, of course, with their race one incident. As here we go once again. The field gets ready to fire on off. The iRacing pace car down on pit road. And the 48 of Tim Rogers in control has been going late in the box. Will he do that again? Looks like he will. And off of turn number 4, we turn him back loose at the cross flags here. It is 20 laps to go here in feature number 2 at Dover. Tim Rogers away with a great restart. Tallarico up into second. Now Dave Payne trying to work over JJ McRae for P number 3. What a top 3 it would be with any of these drivers up in the top 6 at the moment. As now we see 19 laps to go. We got to keep an eye on this red 55 machine and the black and white 35. These cars on brand new fresh tires. How fast can they go? What kind of pace can they push? Tim Rogers, though, out in front. JJ McRae able to get around Payne for that 3rd position. Payne now bleeding a few more positions as Stephen Hoffman around. Hoffman up into P number 4. Now here comes Ron Hart to steal away 5th from the 38 machine. Hart will do just that. And those guys have to be careful. Now Scott Negus sits right behind them in P number 7. He is on those fresh tires and about half a second faster. We'll have to see what it is this time by. As last time by, Tim Rogers did a 25.84. Scott Negus a 25.76. So actually, I take that back, maybe about a 10th quicker. But here tonight, they're only a second back from the race leader. So 10th lap and 10 laps, you'll be there to the leaders. So Scott Negus definitely the car we got to keep an eye on in the back here. But here we go, 16 to go. Tim Rogers leading the way. JJ McRae trying to hold off Stephen Hoffman. Ron Hart, both contact in feature number 1, but they are running really strong. Here comes Negus to make the move on Dave Payne. Last time by, 55 machine, fastest car on the track, I should say, and fastest lap of anyone during the race. This 55 machine is on rails. He got around Dave Payne very quickly, so Scott Negus, a man on a mission. He's looking to pick up checkered flag number 2 here tonight. And it looks like here right in front of our race leaders might have some lap traffic to deal with just a little bit. Looks like a 88 car a little bit off the pace here, and not sure who the car is further up in front of him. So we'll keep an eye on that. Looks like it's a 41 machine of TJ Hansen. Further on back here, Pete Dillon, Ty Delphia do battle right inside of the top 10 here. There's a battle for 9th as Ty a little loose in the 13 machine to the inside. Oh, they make contact off turn number 4. Just a little bit of going to short track race. No, as Ty turns him into turn number 1. Pete Dillon will hit the wall hard. Man, I was just about to say it's all kind of fair games. Tough race in there, but going into turn number 1. Woo! That was a little bit on the edge there, folks. We'll take a look here, see what happened into turn number 1. Ty trying to arc the corner as much as possible and just kind of misjudged the arc into the corner. Gets in the left rear of Pete. I think Pete hit it pretty soft, all things considered, with the speeds here tonight. But, yeah, a tough break there. And I believe Ty, tapping on the roof there will take the claim. So he will head to the back of the field. That was a tough break there because, like I said, both those cars racing with inside the top 10. And now the question is, does any of the guys that did not pit that top 9 before, do they come down pit road here with 12 laps to go? Or do they figure, hey, our beds are made, we got to ride out this plan? And it looks like no one else down. It looks like the only car down, the 906 machine of JT Batson. So it is going to be a lonely, lonely pit road, as it should be about a 9-lap shootout when we turn these guys on loose. Oh man, folks. Tim Rogers looking for his first ever ASRC win. in about 2 years or so. So he has a lot to race for. He would be definitely very, very pumped up to get the job done. Has been starting to put together some pretty good races here in the past couple races with all things considered. Yeah, started knocking off quite a few top fives, top tens. I mean, yeah, last time at Bristol, he went ninth and then fourth, 5 flags of fourth for him, and a different league picking up the win in an ARCA car. So Tim Rogers starting to get on his stride here a little bit deeper in the season, and right now leading the field with under 10 laps to go. This guy's going to be pumped up if he can park that 48 machine down in victory lane. But where this caution really helps is this 55 and the 35. Both those cars will start on the outside row, both spots 3 and 4 in lane number 2 here. Those guys have about 20 lap fresher tires, and it should be really interesting to see what kind of pace, see what kind of moves they can do on the outside here. As here we go once again, Tim Rogers elects the outside restarting lane. It will be 9 laps to go. Once we turn them on loose, it's going to be a sprint to the finish. And that 9 laps is right about when, if you're really pushing the car, it will start to get big time loose. So we're going to see all gas and no brake for these 9 laps. It's going to be awesome to watch here, folks. As here we go, Rogers, Tallarico on the front row for the Boardwalks restart number 4 of the night. Tim Rogers in the 48, electing the outside lane, will be in control of the restart once again. Of course, Rogers has been going very, very late in the restart box. We'll probably do the same here once again. iRacing pace car off the speedway. Here we go once again for restart number 4 of the night, as we will turn him back loose. Tim Rogers away with a great restart. He will check on out. Stephen Hoffman will be able to draw even with Tanner Tallarico diving down into turn number 1. Tallarico in the 1 car will have the shorter distance around the racetrack, and should be able to clear Hoffman. Maybe not Hoffman, able to keep just a nose to the bumper of the number 1 car. Tim Rogers, though, out in front, able to check on out just a little bit. Here comes JJ McCrae once again. 8 laps to go at the stripe. McCrae has been running inside this top 5 all night long here in feature number 2. Would hate to give away a podium finish. He was up there a few weeks ago here recently. Was great to talk to him. Would love to talk to him here again. But now under fire from Ron Hart, as Stephen Hoffman able to get to P number 3 here. It's time to go at the stripe. It is 7 laps to go. Hart trying to make the move on McCrae, and they got to be careful now. Hayden Swank, best runner on new tires. He sits right behind this battle for the 5th position. Actually make it the 4th position here as Hart and McCrae go door number to door number. And so far, no real advantage between either 2 of the cars. Of course, Hart on the inside lane has a shorter distance, but McCrae can have a little bit more momentum up in that 2nd lane. But it looks like Hart now draws a little bit ahead. Hart now clear of the 78. McCrae has to be careful here. A lot of cars in a line right behind him. He has to be smart with his move. Time out a perfect run to slam a door shut on a driver, but not able to do that on Hayden Swank. Swank trying to get P number 5 finish inside the top 5 here tonight. Out in front, though, Tim Rogers continues to lead the way over Tanner Tallarico. Stephen Hoffman involved in a wreck there. Race number 1 is in the top 3 here. 3 wide for a second there in turns 1 and 2 as Scott Negus gets around Dave Payne. Now here comes Pete Dillon as McCrae, the right rear starting to go on the 78. He is getting out of shape and he is dropping like a rock. 4 laps to go here tonight at Bristol for feature number 2. Tanner Tallarico under heavy pressure from Stephen Hoffman. Hoffman just trying to find any sort of daylight. Any run he can get, he will try and take. But, oh, man, we got a caution here with 4 laps to go. And that means we will have our one attempt at a green-white checkered. It looks like Chuck Darling here maybe involved there. Oh, as further right in front of Darling, JT Batson in the 31 machine of Zach Hummel get together. Chuck Darling gets in the back of Hummel. Then those cars start to clear up the racetrack. And then, man, just that. And then, yeah, so that was enough to bring out the caution for the 5th time here tonight. It looks like Batson just got in the left rear of the 31 machine of Zach Hummel. Tough break for Hummel. He was having a decent run going for the 31 machine. And so we'll have to start towards the back here. Still could notch off a top 15 finish, but I'm sure he was looking forward to a top 10 here. But like I said, folks, gonna be our one attempt at a green-white checkered here. If we thought it was crazy there before, it's about to be wild because each driver is gonna have probably enough momentum to make one move on a car in front of him. So pretty much this race will be decided from these first 2 rows. So anywhere from Tim Rogers, Tanner Tallarico, Stephen Hoffman, Ron Hart could pick up this win. But unless something really, really crazy happens, I don't foresee anything else happening. Because like I said, for these cars to get up to speed, get things rocking and rolling, these guys are really only going to have one big attempt to get a run on a car in front of them. So as we approach our final restart of the night, quickly going to go to a commercial break just so I can get my voice ready, get on set, and get mentally prepared for this restart because it's going to be a wild one here. So once again, a quick word from our partners over at Premier Setups. Alrighty, folks, we come back here to the one attempt at a green-white checkered here tonight. Once again, Tim Rogers elects the outside lane here. So, like we've seen the last couple restarts, it's going to be a Rogers-Tallarico front row restart. Then right behind them, Ron Hart, Stephen Hoffman, both drivers having a top 5 run in feature number 1. Got cut short with contact between the 2 of them. They are right there to make a move as well. So here we go. The 48 machine of Tim Rogers in control. Our final restart of the night. If we get to the white flag, the race is on. If we get a caution here quickly, the race is over. As here we go. Tim Rogers on the loud pedal. Once again, gets a great restart. Tanner Tallarico might be under fire from Ron Hart. Hart has a longer distance to go, not able to keep that car pinned on down. Tim Rogers just needs 4 more turns to make something happen here. Stephen Hoffman takes a look to the inside of the 1 car, not able to have anything going. Wow, JJ McCrae making the move on Scott Negus here at the stripe though. White flag, 1 more lap to go. Rogers away by himself up in front, further on back. Ty Delphia making the move on Stephen Rochford. That puts Ty back up into the top 10. Further on back, Hoffman takes a look. Nothing doing there. So here we go through 3 and 4 for the final time. And off of turn number 4, Tim Rogers will see victory lane once again here at ASRC. Tanner Tallarico will finish second. And Stephen Hoffman, after a very tough race number 1, will rebound up into the podium finishes here tonight. Wow, what a great race here, folks. Tim Rogers already celebrating this win here, already spinning that car out. You know this guy is definitely pumped up here as he locks down the binders here, waits for all the cars to get on by, and then we'll bring it on around to the front stretch here to, I assume, burn the tires off this 48 machine here tonight. So here we go, Tim Rogers to the stripe on the front stretch here and trying to get that car to break traction. These late model stocks, especially on iRacing, have way too much traction, but here we go. Tim Rogers able to get the smoker rolling, and I know this guy's pumped up. His favorite driver, if you guys could guess, Jimmy Johnson, the 48 machine, one of the best at Dover, and Tim Rogers here claiming Miles the Monster here tonight, and he will pick up the win at the track. A 48 machine is so dominant, as Rogers will burn it down here at the stripe. Man, a great story. Like I said, I have to double check here the old stats and whatnot, and we'll get to that point in the interview with Tim Rogers. But it has been a minute since this 48 machine has seen victory lane, but I know he is pumped up to do it here tonight, as he will bring it down into pits here. And we'll be right back after a quick commercial break and let these drivers get out of their race cars and get ready for the post-race show. Going to be talking with our top 3 drivers, so don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams, race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here to Dover Motor Speedway to talk with our top 3 finishers here tonight. So the first driver we'll be talking with here is the 86 machine, and that is Stephen Hoffman. Stephen, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, I got you, Brett.
Alrighty, my man. How we feeling? First and foremost, 40 laps in feature number 2. A lot more cautions. You had to start deep, but once again, that 86 machine showed some speed and back into the podium.
Yeah, Hayden and I, we were kind of talking there before the start of the second one, and we seen Greggy started in the back, and he drove through the field, so we weren't too worried about it with the speed that we showed in the first race there, and just knew we had to be patient and dodge the big ones because we knew that second one, maybe people would be pushing the issue a little bit more.
And yeah, that they were. How'd you manage to, skirt through all those incidents as well as keep that car clean to the finish?
Uh, basically, just kind of minding my p's and q's on the restarts. I think there was one we barely squeezed by in the bottom, but I think the rest of them after we got about to around fifth, they were all behind us, thankfully.
Yeah, and that they were in here tonight. I tried to build a looser setup for you guys, and I know you come from a dirt background, so I'm sure that fit in nicely. What'd you notice about the late model stocks here on such a big track at a mile speedway like Dover?
Similar to Bristol in a way, we were pretty good there too. You had to keep your momentum up. One and two, it would stick really good, but there was something in the entry of three. I don't know if there's like the tunnel turn there, there's a bump or whatever it
Yeah,
is, but the
there's a
rear end
big
would,
time bump.
yeah, the rear end would unload, and you had to mind it. You couldn't just run in there wide open. You had to respect it the first handful of laps, or you'd burn that right rear up pretty quick.
Yeah, and that definitely was the case here, having to keep that right rear onto you. And I know that's the name of the game, especially in dirt racing, right, Steven?
Yeah, usually when it slicks off, it's some people don't think it's fun, but you'll see who the real drivers are.
Yeah, that is definitely for sure. And yeah, Steven, coming into tonight, having some great pace, incident number, or I should say race number one, having that incident happening on the apron too, heartbreaking, no caution coming out. So how do you kind of regroup, rebuttal when you know you got a feature coming up again, and then to go out there and finish as well as you did?
Just kind of reset. That one's done. You can't do nothing about it. Just try again for the next one. Learn from what happened with that one. What could you do differently? Like I said, we were fast and we drove. I think we started seventh. We drove up to third pretty quick and we took the lead. And then Ron crossed me over with about 15 to go, and I was stuck on the outside for a little bit, not wanting to push the issue. Let Tanner get back to the inside of me. So I just kind of remember that mental note, and then I made sure I just, like we said earlier, just minded my p's and q's on the restarts for the second one. I knew we would get back up there because we were pretty quick.
Yeah, that you were. You had great pace. It seemed like all night long. And besides, this place having a lot of momentum, was there any key you found with running this track? Was it just kind of as smooth as the wheel you could be and just take those runs when you got them?
Yeah, I think so. I learned real quick in the first one, and I think that's what helped us move up so fast. You could enter. I don't know how everyone else was driving, but I'm thinking that maybe a lot of guys were just holding it wide open the whole times. But if you would roll off the throttle a little bit and let the car settle in on entry, and then you get right back on the gas, you could hug the bottom. And I think 100, maybe 80% of my passes were on the inside out of turn two, because you could set them up and watch them get upset going into three, get a run on them, and then just back it out just a little bit so you can make more momentum on exit. Uh, kind of like Mark Martin used to say, they'll beat me in the corner, but they're not going to beat me out.
Yeah, and that's the key, especially with these tracks. And that's why I tell people overall, especially short track stuff, man, you got to beat people on corner exits. If you can roll even a half mile an hour faster at the apex, it makes up to 2, 3 miles an hour by the time you lift again, right?
Yeah, it's crazy seeing how fast they can suck in on you on even on a, like you were saying, a smaller track. But and then there's some nights you'll watch guys, they're like, whoa, they're blowing my doors off on entry, and then halfway through the race you realize they faded back because they burned their stuff up, just plowing like a dump truck through the middle.
Yeah, that is definitely the case. So yeah, Steven, a little bit up and down here to begin the season. Always a lot of speed in the 86, but here tonight, up on the podium, how does that feel? And what's the expectations here as we get now even closer to the halfway point in the season?
Well, I did take a look at points a couple weeks ago. I figured out for once I'm not in the bag. I think we're in the top five.
Yep.
Last week it come back to bit me last week. I pushed the issue because I was trying to points race and unfortunately caused an accident between Dave and I running for fifth. I should have just took my loss and ended up seventh where I was going to end up, but it said it took the three of us out, so that set me back. I'm still in fifth. To where after I did the math, I think I would have been in third. So the rest of the season, hopefully, we've been fast all year, but we've just had bad luck. It seems like I get caught in someone else's mess or just bad qualifying, and the inverts don't play me out very well. But the rest of the season, hopefully, it's good to talk to you guys on this track, but I really want to be up there in some of them short ones.
Yeah, like you said, I think just that little bit of the old lady luck needs to fall your way. And we hear many a times from racers that I'd rather be lucky than good, and I'm sure you're feeling that same way here in the first part of this season.
Yeah, we'll take it. Usually, the first half of the season, I've had to miss a race, or I've got destroyed the first 10 laps in the first handful of races. But so far, we've had a pretty decent season overall, and pretty happy with it.
Yeah, for sure, Steven. You can't complain, especially top five in points, especially with these double point nights. Still some more to come this season. Anything could still happen, and yeah, still a lot of stuff to look forwards to. And yeah, Steven, I mentioned a little bit about your real life dirt track racing. Do you got any plans, anything exciting planned for 2025 this season?
I wish I could say we do, but we've took the year off. We decided to set out, just kind of get our P's and Q's together and take care of some real life issues we got going on. We got a bunch of other stuff we need to focus and work on, and so we decided to take the year off. But uh, I got a buddy that's got an extra car. He's gonna let me run it a handful of times this year. But other than that, we're sitting laying low.
Hey, there you go. Even if you can get the old shoes dusted off a few times, it's always good to stay keen, and especially here on iRacing. I tell people it's such a good tool for real life racing. Just the battling and the decision making that you can learn here from iRacing can transfer over a lot to the real life stuff, right?
Oh, 100%. I don't know. There's a lot more going on in the real car, but in that first feature or heat or whatever, the first race between Ron, Tanner, and I don't know if I shake like that in the real car, but if I do, I need to get that under control because I thought my stand was going to come apart.
Yeah, I tell people it's amazing how immersed you can get here in iRacing. Like it's as real as a real life thing, and your body gets into fight or flight mode pretty quickly here, even on the virtual stuff.
Yep, and it's like you said, if it's all about working on your racecraft, whether it's on this or in real life. These late model stocks are pretty close, so they help out. Where we run sport mods, we're all limited motor, so we're pretty close on power, and it's all about the restarts where everybody's close together. So even on looking at a screen, you don't have the force or the G force of the car, but um, you can really make a mental note of where you're at, where to put your car, and how hard to push it and stuff, and it helps out.
Yeah, that it does. So, Steven, before we let you go for the final time, I always like to ask, see if people have upgraded their sim setups. What are people running? So, in today's day and age, Steven, what do you got? What are you looking at these days? What do you got for wheel and pedals? All that fun combo.
We had VR that quit working, so we went back to a single screen TV screen. We're still rocking the G920 Logitech, G920 pedals. I've just got an Amazon stand, and then I got one of the old seats out of the race car, and so it's somewhat realistic. But other than that, we're pretty plain Jane. Other than computer, I probably got less than $800 in the setup.
Hey, there you go. And like I always tell people, you don't need a lot of money to sink into sim racing, to go out there and have fun, nor to run fast. And I think, Steven, you show that week in and week out.
Yep, and to anyone who always listen, it's the same in the real world. Our car's an '05. If you try hard enough and put in the work, you'll be fast.
Oh, yeah. As long as you keep up with whatever technology's going with it, as long as you keep working on the car, you'll get there eventually, right?
That's right. All it knows is it's got a race car and four wheels and tires, and it's going to turn left.
Exactly. I tell people it's just a steel frame, You can make it do whatever you got to do. At the end of the day, it's just a steel frame on four wheels, right?
Yep, that piece of tubing doesn't know if it's straight or bent. It just knows it's there.
Exactly. Well, Steven, it's been a pleasure to talk to you here this season so far. So hopefully, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again, especially if old lady luck's in your favor. But here tonight, I'm going to go hand over the mic for you for the final time and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors on the car, some of those teammates here, or whoever you're working with these days, or maybe some people tuning into the stream here tonight live.
Yep, we'll get a shout out to you guys and you guys are turn three, but ASRC for putting on the league. I know it's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure my mom and dad are watching. Maybe dad's blood pressure's a little bit lower now after the second feature. My brother, and then just shout out to whoever likes to sit back and watch us put on a show.
Alrighty, well, Steven, congrats on the P number 3 here tonight. Awesome race by you. Awesome rebound overall. So you, my man, have yourself a great rest of the night. And I hope for you especially this luck continues because I'd love to be talking to you some more this season.
Yep, appreciate it, Jet. Hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right, sounds like a plan. Steven, you have yourself a great rest of the night.
You do the same.
Alrighty, folks, that was our third place finisher, Stephen Hoffman. Now we'll head up to our runner-up finisher. It is the one car of Tanner Tallarico. Tanner, do you got a copy of Spread the Jet in the booth here?
I do have a copy. What's going on?
Alrighty, man. How are we feeling after two features? You walk away P number 2 and feature number 2, and of course, tonight come in with the points lead and probably extend that just a little bit. How we feeling, Tanner?
Oh, we're feeling pretty good. I thought that there was a couple times there in that second one that I should have been on the hook headed to the infield. So we'll take it. I'm just same approach, I guess, as I've always tried to take to these races. Just try to see the finish, and for whatever reason, it seems to be working out pretty good this season. So yeah, the points and stuff are great, but you know, I'm just trying to come out and have fun and, like I say, finish as many laps as possible and just try to, you know, kind of be up in the thick of it as much as I can. That's when you're having the most fun. So it's been a good season so far. It's really fun.
Yeah, that it has. And Tanner, you've been up in the thick of it. It seems like at least 4 of the 5 last races, you know, picking up a win. And then here tonight, 2 runner-up finishes. First one we'll talk about first here against Craigie Lawn. Kind of the inverse of Bristol. You two had the cars to beat there at Bristol, finishing the reverse order. How do we feel about feature number 1, and then, of course, how that lead into the decisions for feature number 2 here?
Yeah, so feature number 1 was, I mean, I think we were all trying to figure out what the cars are going to do on a long run. I don't think any of us really ran that long of a run in practice to kind of know. And I was just biding my time behind Ron there for a while, and then Steven kind of got up in the mix, and they were battling it out side by side. And, you know, at one point in time, we were 3 wide, and I think I was 3 wide on the top, and I tried to actually run up there for about a lap, and I think I just hurt my right front too much. He got by Ron on the bottom, and I was able to kind of slot in behind him right there, and I think just running up top for those 2 laps, whatever it was when I was up there, I could kind of tell that I probably hurt my right front a little bit. I could carry more speed through the corner, and the car didn't have a tendency to get quite as loose, but I definitely could tell that I was sliding the right front, and I just needed that back to do anything with Greggy. So, but nonetheless, yeah, I was settled for second. It was good points in the first one, and then didn't have any like inkling or anything that we were going to finish as good as we did in the second one, but dodged a big wreck there at the beginning and got some track position because of that, and just got really, really lucky on restarts and timing and the way the lanes and stuff kind of shifted and opened up. I just kind of never left the bottom the whole time in the second one, and it all worked out. And then, yeah, we had those restarts late. The restarts make it hard to really do anything, and Tim was taking the top, and you know, it worked out because I was able to defend a little bit on the bottom, and I could kind of judge off of his car, like kind of when he was going to launch. But as the leader, you just, when you stand on it in these things, it's just a huge advantage. So all I could do is watch for the front of his car to kind of lurch forward and then try to time it as best I could, and it all ended up working out. But yeah, we'll take second, and congrats to Tim. I know he's fired up to win these things and always has good-looking machines, and was happy to see a fellow friend get one done.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, the 48 car, I'll be talking with him about it before, but you know, Jimmy Johnson's so dominant at Dover, and I'm sure he's pumped up about that. But yeah, for you here tonight, Tanner, we saw you, of course. I think, you know, with you up top of 3 wide, I think where it really killed you right front was you being up in the marbles. I don't know if you could see that too much from where you're seeing, but we definitely saw it in the broadcast, and I think that's where that right front lost the grip, because we had no cautions feature number 1. I mean, who saw that coming? And the marbles were definitely building up, especially that third lane, if not, of course, further up the track that you were stuck in.
Yeah, you know, we were kind of joking around after the second caution of the second race, where, you know, we're kind of making the comparison to the, you know, like the Daytona dual races when they used to be back at Daytona. It's just, you know, like everybody always jokes around and says the first one's always calm, the second one's crazy, or vice versa. So we kind of had an idea that, you know, the first one, as clean and green as it was, we kind of knew that the second one was going to be a little bit more crazy. And yeah, you're probably right with how many green flag laps we ran in the first race. I'm sure we developed a lot of marbles up there, and I don't have them visible on my screen. So, Yeah, I'm sure I was pretty high up there for a little bit, so I'm sure I probably picked up some debris and just scrubbed too much out of the right front. But you live and learn, and like I say, the big picture is just glad that this thing's in one piece and somehow again just right place, right time, and it's all working out. I don't feel like I'm like light years faster than anybody in the field. I think it's just a matter of just getting really, really lucky. So we'll just try to keep the luck train going while we can.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what we kind of talked about Stephen Hoffman. You know, he's not having luck the first part of the season. Tanner, it seems like you definitely have old lady luck in your back pocket a little bit to start the season. Of course, that goes with the points lead coming into tonight. But it's like, man, it seems like this one car, you know, is, I don't know, pretty good level though overall. It seems like you found some speed in this car no matter where we go, whether a good old quarter mile bull ring or these mile long racetracks, because even tonight, you know, you showed it even with the invert for the second race, able to slice and dice your way through the field.
Yeah, it's weird because it kind of comes and goes in phases. I think back to last season of late model stock racing, I had just if I didn't have bad luck, I had no luck at all for the first 75% of that season. And then right towards the end, it started to shift and had a couple good finishes at the end of last season. And, I don't know if it's just me or pure coincidence or what, but definitely I feel like my luck comes in. It's like a roller coaster. You get really high spots for a while, and then you kind of get low spots for a while, and you just got to ride it out until it comes back around. And like I said a second ago, just the biggest thing is just try to take advantage of it while you can, and because you never know when it's going to stop, right? You could have one bad week, and then that might open the can of worms, and you might be off the rails for 4 or 5 races or something until you can get it back on track. So just trying to minimize the risk, and the rest seems to be taking care of itself so far.
Yeah, that it does. Able to once again finish in a P number 2 spot here tonight, and once again extend the points lead here, Tanner. So awesome stuff to see. Anything else you want to chat about or anything? I know real life stuff, you know, hit or miss on that sort of stuff, but at least the sim racing stuff we're feeling pretty good about, right?
Yeah, the sim racing stuff is going great. It's again kind of a weird roller coaster dynamic that when the real life racing is going bad, the sim racing goes really good, and then when the sim racing is bad, the real life racing goes really good. And if I could just figure out how to plane that out a little bit and just get both of them firing on all cylinders, obviously that would be ideal. But yeah, we're clicking away at it, man. It's still super early in the season, and we're working on trying to work some bugs out and stuff, and brand new track, really, really small, thin notebook, and just trying to log as many laps as possible to get as much data and everything else that we need, so we can really, try to put some really solid runs together at the end of the season. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the sim racing world right now. It's refreshing to get on and just hang out with your buddies, and no matter how good or bad the real life racing stuff goes the weekend before, at least you can always count on getting on here and just hanging out with the guys. And ultimately, we all take this stuff really, really seriously. But even on your bad nights, they're not that bad because you can just hang out with your buddies and kind of shoot it a little bit, and it's always a good time. You can get on here and hang out.
Oh, for sure. That's where the club aspect of the league comes in, right, Tanner? That it's laid back until the visor comes down, right?
Yeah, it's so often you see on iRacing where we get all these leagues out there that they take stuff really, really seriously. Not that we don't here, just we've got kind of a level of competition that's a little more chill, and um, for the most part, our rules and stuff are pretty wide open. Other than I think anybody that's raced here would say, our conduct rules and stuff are pretty strict. But I think because of that, we really have, like you were saying, Brett, we do have that club atmosphere. We don't really care, how fast you are, how much experience you might have, how old you are, that kind of thing, what your racing background is, what your racing knowledge is. I could go on forever. Just if you have if you've got an eye for sim racing and it's something that you enjoy doing and you just kind of want to come kick it with a really laid back group of guys, this is the place to do it. So, yep, it's definitely try to have that club atmosphere as much as we possibly can, just like it says in the name.
Yep, because even though you're leading the points, Tanner, with that atmosphere, how many practice laps have you put in? I know tonight was a little bit different, of course, a different track, but most nights, it's close to that 0 marker practice laps to get into it because we know other leagues, there's hours and hours and put in just for one race, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's leagues out there, that, for lack of a better term, they're like a pro series, but they're just a league. And you got guys out there that run hundreds and hundreds of laps during the week. And, while you can do that here too, the vast majority of us, the laps that we run before the race in practice, that's more than likely the only laps that we have leading up to the race for that given week. So, in a way, that's nice because it's, like I say, it's very low pressure. You don't feel the need that if you're not turning laps that you're falling behind, that kind of thing. And, yeah, I think that combines, kind of the competition level aspect when you look at that too, which is probably why, we see a lot of parity here. Is just nobody runs a lot of practice laps, so whoever can latch on in the quick 45-minute session that we have, they're probably going to be pretty good all night long. So yeah, it keeps everybody's time freed up, and it just keeps the competition level always, turning over week after week after week. It seems like there's always new faces popping into victory lane, so it's a good time.
That it is, Tanner, and yeah, like you said, you gotta love the parody here. But you, my man, have been so far this season Mr. Consistent, up there on the podium. Seems like most weeks than not. So here for at least tonight, Tanner. Once again, another runner-up finish for both races here. So we're gonna go hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether it's sponsors on the car, some of those all-important teammates, or anyone else you want to give a shout-out to on the broadcast here before we let you go.
Yeah, so first things first, got to give a big shout out to Zach Postma and Emmett for coming to see me over the weekend. Zach is also the title sponsor of the Late Model Stock Series. So shout out to those guys. Appreciate you coming to see me on Saturday. I'm sure they'll probably go back and watch this replay if they're not watching it live. So I want to say hi to those guys. As far as the car goes, I got Elif Brothers Roofing on the hood. They're also my employer, so if I don't count them in, my job might be on the line. So Elif Brothers Roofing. Boardwalk Subs, you got Mike's High Performance Gears, Accurate Inspections, KRW Performance and Customs. And then as far as the sim world goes, obviously you, Brett, I try to thank you every single week for what you do with the broadcast stuff for both series. You knock it out of the park every week with Turn 3. The admin team, for all they do, we couldn't do this, if we weren't as tight as we were in a group that we are. So the admin team for all they do, and then our members, I probably don't say it enough, but the group of members that we have here at ASRC is second to none. We've got probably the most dedicated group of guys of all age ranges, all skill levels that you're ever going to find on iRacing, and I'm super proud of that. And love racing with everybody. And like I say, we just got the greatest member base that there is on iRacing. So.
Oh, for sure, Tanner. And we appreciate the interview. Always a pleasure talking to you. And like you said, to build on your point, the culture here at ASRC, second to none. We try to build up the right kind of ideals and culture, like I said before here. And I think we definitely done a really good job at that.
Yeah, we've, I could harp on it and go on and on and on, but just, we got a great group of members. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it. It's something that we've worked for a really long time. This all came together during COVID, and if you'd have told me when we started this thing up it would be what it is right now, I'd say you're nuts, because we just started it up as something. We didn't even know if it was going to run out past COVID. We just put something together because we were all bored at home and wanted something to do with some real life racing buddies, and word spread like wildfire, and people were having a good time. And next thing you know, we've got a couple hundred members doing this stuff with us week in and week out, and here we are. So I, like I said, if you'd have told me 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it's been, that the league was going to be what it is today, I'd have said you're crazy. But I guess never say never, and I'm just super proud of where we're at and what we've become. So it's good for everybody, good for the admin team, good for the members.
Oh yeah, for sure, Tanner. And it's such a good feeling to see the success of everything that's become from this. So you, my man, Tanner, have yourself a great rest of the night. I'm sure we'll be once again talking to you here in the near future. But yeah, it's been a pleasure once again, like always, to chat with you and pick your brain a little bit, because there's a lot of knowledge to be had from the number one car.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate all you do for the league, and I'll maybe be talking to you again next week. I don't know. I don't want to jinx myself. I don't know where this momentum is going to take me, but hopefully we can just keep this stuff rolling. Or I guess it'd be in 2 weeks. We got an off week next week, so hopefully it rolls right through the off week, right into the next one.
I was gonna say, yeah, for sure the off week in there, but yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking again. So Tanner, you, my man, have a great rest of the night, and like I said, we'll be talking again here in the future.
Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Alrighty, folks, that was our runner-up finisher. Now let's head down to Victory Lane with a new Dover infield. You can go to Victory Lane, and that's where the 48 car of Tim Rogers sits. Let's get a word with him. Tim Rogers, you're down here in the new Victory Lane. How we feeling, my man?
Man, oh, you're here, Brett. Holy crap. So this is what Zach Nichols and Justin Brook feel like every week. I freaking ran down to the pilot, grabbed the 30 rack. I did my laundry before the time I got to speak to you.
Heck yeah. Hey, if you weren't doing shots like me, I don't know what you're doing, Tim. How many cold ones are we into?
I don't know. We'll save it for the weekend. I gotta wake up early tomorrow, but
Oh, come on, Tim. You're down in Victory Lane. Don't you gotta celebrate it? We know the success of Jimmy Johnson here at Dover, and now the 48 machine of Tim Rogers heads there. It's gotta be a big celebration, that in it of itself.
yeah, I'm happy. A little bit of that 48 black magic rubbed off here at Dover. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of that Chad Knaus tomfoolery.
Exactly.
Yeah, Dover's for me personally, Dover's never really been a strong track of mine. I've never raced the late model stock here. It was usually in the higher horsepower cars. I'm smacking the wall off the corner, spinning out, killing everyone, but was able to pull it off here.
Yeah, and I mean, what was the difference here tonight? You know, race number 1, you had some decent speed, I should say. But, you know, race number 2, you come out here, take the lead, lose the lead, and then get it back. And then once you got it back, you never looked back. So what was the kind of game plan? What was the decision making? And yeah, like you said, low horsepower, late model stocks have never been up to a track a mile in length. And here tonight, you get the job done here with a definitely a unique combo when it's all said and done.
Yeah, it's the first race I was kind of just playing it cool. Wanted to save that right rear because it was snappy in 3 and 4. I didn't want to burn it off too quick, so I dropped back and let those guys duke it out. I thought I could trust them, though. Then they ended up wrecking each other. I, as a good citizen, checked up for the wreck and tried to avoid it, but no caution came out. So it kind of, at the time, I thought it screwed me over, right? I thought it screwed me over. And then the invert happened for the second race. I started 5th, and my whole mentality changed for the second race. I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to go for it. You know, I'm 5th, might as well try and keep the track position.
Oh yeah, for sure, Tim. And yeah, to build on that, you know, what was kind of the decision making, like you said, you know, to go from race number 1 and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we just let it all hang out. Race number 2, and I assume that was the game plan of, hey, we're starting up a little bit more towards the front. Let's just keep that track position and keep those guys in the rearview mirror if we can, right?
Yeah, I just honestly, I did the whole right rear saving thing last race, and this race I was just like, screw it, let's just go for it. I was on every single lap. Maybe I saved a little bit in the beginning when I think it was JJ passed me, but I don't know, something switched in my head. Maybe it was all the cautions that were happening. I was just like, let's just absolutely melt the right rear off this thing, which kind of screwed me over later on in the race because Tanner was coming like a bat out of hell. So was Ron and Hoffman. I don't think Tanner had fresh tires, but I think Ron and Stephen Hoffman did, and they were coming like a bat out of hell. So kind of put me on my toes there.
Well, hate to break your party, Tim, but actually the first car on new tires was either Hayden Swank or Scott Negat. So they were still on the same tires as you. But yeah, like you said, you know, able to hit those restarts. And race number 2, we definitely had a lot of them. How'd you manage those? And what was the decision with the outside lane? we haven't seen that all night long, and you're the first to do it.
Yeah, well, going back to the fresh tire thing, and then I guess I suck. I guess I suck. I guess they were just better than me, you know. I just fucking I don't know, but um the outside thing, you know, let's change it up a bit, you know, why not? No one else was doing it. Let's try the outside, see what happens. And I had my trusty buddy Tanner Talarico on the inside as well. Just seemed like a good plan.
Yeah, that it did, and it worked out for you each and every time. I mean, Tim, you were one of the furthest to restart in the box. Was that a decision made by you, or were you just like, hey, it worked out for me once before, we're going to keep it rolling? Because it seemed like you were waiting the longest of anyone on a restart.
Really? I didn't even realize that. I just thought I'd be I was being courteous and going in the Echo Park automotive restart zone that they graciously labeled on the sidewall. I thought that was a good place to restart. I didn't even realize that.
Oh,
But
yeah. It was definitely the latest of anyone, Tim, and I feel like if you went even earlier, you'd have a bigger advantage going into turn number one. But in the end of the day, it still worked out great for the 48 machine, right?
yeah, I guess so. I guess I just confused everyone and they were like, "What the hell is this guy doing? Just go." But yeah, I didn't even realize that. Once I was trying to like go in the middle of that restart zone, and I just kept going there, and it was working. And except that last restart, I um went as soon as my nose touched that green.
Oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, it seemed like that last one a little bit later, but yeah, Tim, overall, you had some tough luck here in ASRC. Of course, the other ARCA League, you picked up a win here earlier this season. But yeah, looking back in ASRC, last win coming all the way back in the 87 cars. How's it feel, my man, to be back in victory lane? Because I said on the broadcast, it took some time here, but you, my man, got the job done.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, it was the season opener for the 87s at Old Daytona. That was my last win
Yep.
in ASRC, and this is I think this is career ASRC career win number 10 for me. So number 10, this is a special one here at Dover Motor Speedway, and I'm just happy to be here, I guess. I'm happy to win a race in this league. I mean, I've been here since the beginning. My first win was at Bristol in the super late models that summer season, summer 2021. So I don't win all the time, but when I can snag them, I'll snag them, you know.
Yeah, for sure, Tim. And this puts you, keeps your spot within six, and actually unties you from Nick Fleury in the most amount of wins in ASRC, sitting at P number 6. I mean, that's got to feel pretty good because only in front of you, Trevor Madley sits with, of course, all the dirt success he had. But then Hayden Swank, Tanner Talarico, Zach Nichols, Ron Hart, Andrew Payne, myself. I mean, that's got to feel like some pretty good company, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even number 6, huh? I didn't even realize that. Those are some pretty darn good names to be a company like to be with in this league. Those are some heavy hitters, and overall, I was gonna say something else sappy, but I'm just glad I'm ahead of Nick Fleury. That's awesome, you know.
I was gonna say you can
I
let the
mean, I'm
sappy
better
stuff
than him, I
go.
guess.
We're down
Yeah.
to give you as long as you need for this interview here tonight, Tim. I know you always, say, hey, we take too much time in the interviews, and here tonight, you can let it fly, my man.
Yeah, I'm happy I passed Nick Fleury. That makes this one like 10 times better that I'm ahead of Nick Fleury in the all-time wins list. So,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, I mean, I'll just add that feather to my cap now.
Yeah, Tim, and picking up the win in the late model stocks, but I was looking at your finishes overall here in the last couple weeks. I mean, fourth, fifth, another fourth. I mean, it was bound to come for a win. And were you thinking here at Dover, or I mean, what was your thought process coming into tonight? Because you were starting to get the old consistency rocking and rolling, and here tonight definitely showed it here for feature number 2.
Yeah, definitely have some momentum going, which is a good thing. Starting to rack off some great finishes in both series. I mean, which is crazy, excuse me, which is crazy. I didn't even really practice for this race. I didn't forget there was an update. I just forgot to update it. So started updating this freaking game at like 8 o'clock and it didn't get done till like 8:40. So I just got out there and ran some laps and I was like, oh shit, just hold her wide open and you're good. Um, so there wasn't too much of a trick I had to overcome here, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't expect it to happen here. It just happened. I was able to play the invert right, not willingly. You know, I got slowed down by that wreck, but it ended up working in my favor. I had the track position and had good restarts.
Yeah, that you did, Tim, here tonight, walking away with the feature win. And yeah, like you said, Tim, able to work out everything in your favor. The invert from these double features. I mean, how do you feel with these double features? I know some people are big fans of them, some people not. I feel like it's a nice way to, get a good game plan from race number one and head into race number two, even if you have a slight issue like you had and able to capitalize it here in race number two, and that you did here in Victory Lane.
Yeah, double features. I don't mind them. They play an interesting. They change things up, makes it interesting. Dover's an interesting track to have a double feature at, though. But I mean, it ended up, I think, being a good race. Both races were pretty good. That first race, they were going. That was a great battle for the lead to watch. I mean, they were freaking three wide at one point. I mean, that was probably awesome watching on the broadcast.
Oh, for sure, Tim. And like I said, to see you out in front for race number two was definitely an awesome, awesome feeling. I mean, what were you feeling out in front? I mean, just watching the mirror, trying to manage your throttle inputs or all that stuff. I mean, what is your mindset out in front to, try and save what you can, but also not push the limit?
My mindset was hit the bottom and don't F it up. Let's keep it
For
PG here. Don't
sure.
F it up.
Yep.
Uh, that was my whole mindset. And then I knew Tanner was there, and then Hoffman and Hart were there, and they were all gaining on me, and I was just like, those cautions definitely saved me. Some those cautions definitely saved me because they were coming, and I was atrocious. I think I missed the bottom in 3 and 4 multiple times. I clipped the apron in 1 and 2. I was just a hot mess for the most part, but
Yeah,
uh, yeah.
I was gonna say, what do you think would be the ultimate to figure out here? Because we heard 3 and 4, the bump into three was a big factor in how people drove here tonight. What'd you figure out, Tim, and how were you able to figure out what line to run and what speed to run, especially in that green-white checker there at the end?
It was just like holding a steady wheel, just don't let the bumps upset your car, just keep it as straight as possible, you know. Because if it was so momentum based, if you wiggled the car up the track, you were a goner to the guy behind you. I mean, you just hold a steady wheel, don't let the bumps upset the car, which was kind of hard in 3 and 4 because of that one nasty bump, but just get a good arc in there, classic Dover stuff.
Oh, for sure. And, we touched on it a little bit before, but the overall with how we're feeling with Jimmy Johnson, with the success we had at Dover. I mean, how does it feel for the 48 to end up in victory lane here tonight?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Jimmy Johnson was my favorite driver going up. I got to see him win a shit ton at Dover, and it's cool to do it here in the 48. It's seems really fitting. I'm not in the Lowe's 48, but I'm in the MILF Plaza 48, but who gives a shit?
Exactly. You got to appreciate the sponsorship. And I tell you what, this Move Plaza 48 machine looks pretty sweet on the track. We got a few shots of that spoiler gleaming. I tell you what, peak looks on this car. It looks sweet, Tim.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It's got a nice spec map on it. Purple really looks really good.
Oh, for sure. Well, Tim, before we let you go in victory lane, we figure we get you, that 15-minute interview time that, you know, you say that we give other people, so we figure we give it to you. But here tonight, we're gonna go hand over the mic to you and thank who you gotta thank, whether it's sponsor on the car, those all important teammates, or anyone else you want to give a shout out to on the broadcast here tonight.
All right, I always forget to thank the series sponsor, so I want to thank Zach Postma for sponsoring the series. It's awesome because then we're able to, do cool things like put on this broadcast and stuff like that. So thanks to him. Uh, Thanks to Andrew Payne for overseeing the race, being the eyes in the sky, calling out the bullshit when there's bullshit. Thanks to you, Brett, for broadcasting, and thanks to Turn 3 for putting on good work. Thanks to Tanner and Dave for being good teammates. They're awesome. Um, I want to thank the moms at MILF Plaza for helping me prepare this car. It's a winner. We're going to take this thing to where we go next week.
Well, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's right. We got an off week. Hey, I'm going to Watkins Glen for the 6 hours next week, so we're
Heck
going to be
yeah.
camping
So
up there.
if you see Tim Rogers, you know what he kind of looks like here in his picture. But yeah, if you find him, be sure to say hi, right?
I'm going to be wearing, I don't want to, I guess, I'm going to be wearing a 2001 GM Goodwrench Dale Earnhardt
Oh,
Hawaiian shirt,
man.
and I'm not changing it the whole weekend. It's got a cool Rolex 24 logo on it too, so
Oh,
I'll
you
be wearing
gotta,
that.
you gotta, you gotta rock that for sure for the whole weekend, right?
Yes, sir. Who else do I got on this car? I think it's just MILF Plaza that's on this car, but yeah, that's all I got. I
Oh,
feel like I'm forgetting someone to thank, but
oh, for
I
sure.
don't
I
know.
mean, even the contingency, you got Post Floyd Turn 3 and maybe
Oh,
LaPlante products.
oh yeah, look, we got the LaPlante Triple Crown. That's awesome. Thanks to Noah
Voucher.
Boucher for putting that on. I knew his last name, I just didn't know how to say it. I didn't know if it was Bobby Boucher
Yeah.
or Boucher, but thanks to him for putting that together. It's an awesome thing for the league.
Oh, for sure. That's at least the way I say it, and he hasn't corrected me yet, so we'll keep rocking it.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, Tim. Well, I tell you what, I'm heartbroken. I can't be out for the 6 hours of the Glen and all sort of that sort of stuff with the fun going on there. But we plan to be out there sometime here soon. But yeah, Tim, I tell you what, it's always awesome to talking to you. And now here down in Victory Lane, especially with the Dover stuff, you can drive down to Victory Lane now. How cool is that?
That's the first thing I thought about as soon as I got the checkered flag, crossed the finish line. I was like, going to victory lane. You're gonna do a burnout on the front stretch. Oh, excuse me. Then going to victory lane immediately after because that's a cool addition. I don't know if any of the new tracks they added today you can do that, but that'd be awesome.
I think, in theory, all the new tracks that they added, they can do that because the old school Bristol and whatnot, they could do that. So I think all the new tracks you could technically end up there. And here tonight, Dover, it shows there were the one of the ones updated, and here tonight you sit there.
Yeah, it's definitely I'll be honest, I was on the phone the way I didn't hear a thing you said. My mom texted me, but new victory lanes are cool. That's for sure. I'm gonna go exploring here later. But the new Gen 4 car,
Oh yeah, the new Gen 4 car is definitely going to be a very popular car on the sim. So Tim, anything else you want to end things off with before we end the victory lane here interview?
ah, just happy with the result. Happy for my team. Thanks for everyone for coming out. Thanks for everyone for watching, and see you in 2 weeks.
All right, sounds a good Tim. 2 weeks, South Boston Motor Speedway. We'll wish you the best luck for the 48 car. But Tim, tonight you go celebrate this win here tonight. Be sure to crack open a couple cool cold ones, or if not, some other sort of stuff, and we'll be down to party with you here after we finish up in the broadcast booth.
Yes, sir. I'll see you then.
Alrighty, folks, that was Tim Rogers down in the victory lane. And Tim Rogers picking up the victory for race number 2 here tonight. So, want to thank you. Give a huge thanks to all the other drivers here tonight making up the grid and providing the great racing action here from race number 5 of the Postma Flooring Late Model Stocks Series here tonight at the Dover Motor Speedway. So, to go into the race results, Tim Rogers picking up the win. Tanner Talarico will finish P number 2. Stephen Hoffman will finish P number 3 here. Got a chance to talk to all 3 of those drivers. Ron Hart, tough break race number 1, will finish 4th here in race number 2 in the 51 machine. Aiden Swank in the 35 Purple People Eater will round out the top 5. JJ McRae will, of course, coming into tonight, lead the overall short track series kind of points, and I think it will be very close between him and Tim Rogers. Will all depend how tomorrow night at the Wednesday night Street Stock Series here at Dover will go. That could be anyone's game. So McRae will finish 6th. 7th going to Scott Negus in the 55 machine. A great run for Scott. Pete Dillon in the 07 car will finish 8th. Dave Payton in the 38 machine does not get wrecked at the end of the race. Will finish 9th. Ty Delphia in the 013 machine had a great run in the Street Stocks last season. Will finish in the top 10. Stephen Rochford in the 66 will finish 11th. 12th going to JT Batson in the 906. And then how about this? Ace Hart in the 145 will finish P number 14. Stephen Rochford in the 77. Not quite able to knock off the top 10 here tonight. Involved with an early incident here. Will finish 15th. Zach Hummel in the 31 will finish 16th. DJ Hansen in this 41 will finish P number 17. So a decent rebound for him. Chuck Darling in the 88 machine will finish P number 18. Then behind him, Greg Long will finish 19th. Feature number 1 winner in the 21 will have a tough night here in race number 2. And then, of course, Mark Welch, Justin Brooks, and Nathan Coaster does not make the start here tonight. So that'll be the end of things here for race number 5 for the Postma Flooring Stocks Late Model Stock Series here from the American Sim Racing Club. So thanks again to all the live viewers here tuning in here tonight. Thanks again to all the replay viewers. And I tell you what, folks, next week we have an off week, but then after that we head back to the good old Bull Ring short track racing series. We head to South Boston, some of everyone's, and I think my personal favorite short track racing track will be next in 2 weeks here. So you won't want to miss that. It's going to be a good time here. So I've been Brett the Jet from Turn Through Racing Network, and I tell you what, folks, we are partnered with Premier Setup Shops. If you want to check them on out, link in the description. That will take you over to their website. I would appreciate it a lot here if you'd click that link, take you on over there. So that'll do it here for myself here from Turn Through Racing Network. Be sure to tune in to tomorrow night for the Street Stock Series. Street Stock's taking on Dover Motor Speedway tomorrow night. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll catch you on the flip side. So I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I've just flew by you. And have yourselves a great rest of the night. I've Brett. I have been here, and we've had a great time here. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll catch you on the flip side tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Street Stock Series. Take on the Dover Motor Speedway. So we'll be there with you. And yeah, some great racing to be had. So everyone take care. Have a great rest of the week. And we'll be back 2 weeks from now on Tuesday, or if not tomorrow night, on the Street Talk series. So we'll see you on then. So have a good one, and we'll catch you later. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you.